pictures and the images of that exact moment when this bridge snapped from one side. We showed you also how there was enormous amount of overcrowding, nearly 400 to 450 people on that bridge, which could only structurally support about 150 people. Let's go across to Priyanka. Priyanka, we have, of course, now been able to access pictures of how the snap actually happened, and it's extremely clear that there were glaring lapses, that people who are responsible need to be brought to book, and this was something that was completely unavoidable.
Well, Nupur, let's show our viewers the place where exactly the buck really stops, because we do see that this is the particular ticket counter from where there had been a larger number of people, a higher number of people that had been given the tickets, and the tickets in fact were also given at 2 rupees higher the amount than it was signed in the contract that was signed between the company, that is Ajanta Overa, and the municipality as well. And of course in that contract it had been stated that there will be a certain amount that will be taken, but yesterday's tickets, the pictures that we have access to show that this was 2 rupees high.
That needs to be posed to Ajanta Overa as well. They have been sidestepping their entire responsibility when it comes to what happened yesterday, the tragic incident that was, as you rightly...
The tragic incident that was, as you rightly pointed out, completely avoidable, and that is what we are seeing unraveling here in the investigation that we are carrying out on the ground. Right now, as we speak, Nukur, let me also tell our viewers where we are. This is just right now we showed you the ticket counter. Now this is the pathway that goes towards the bridge, and the bridge in fact that has collapsed now, and we are seeing that the volunteers are also going there where the work in fact is being carried out by the authorities. They're carrying food and water for them as well, and so we are walking along that pathway where yesterday more than 600 people had walked. They had they did not know that they were sealing their fate in such a way that they did not know that they're paying for a ticket that would lead to their death as well. It is an absolutely shocking tragedy that has come to light, and of course we put out those CCTV images of the exact moment when the bridge had also collapsed, and we are seeing that because of those kind of negligence of the company, that is Ajanta Overa, that had carried out this entire contract for maintenance of the bridge, that they had allowed more than 150 people, as they themselves had also stated that there are 150 people at capacity that the bridge also allows, and we are seeing that more than 600 people had been allowed to be on the bridge, and of course that is something that needs to be asked to the company as well, and we are trying that.
Right.
But we are seeing that the investigation is also being carried out by the authorities. Let me also show you the view of the rescue operations that are still going on as we speak, because there are parts of the river that have been drained out to find more of the dead bodies that were not being able to be located. There were unfortunately more and more children that were being taken out of the water as the rescue operations were being carried out by the NDRF, by the SDRF, by the Army, Navy, and all the other authorities, including the volunteers that had gone into the water trying to retrieve the dead bodies of the near and dear ones who have in fact lost their lives in that very tragic incident that had taken place yesterday. But we are seeing that the buck really stops with the company as well that had been issuing these tickets, even after the bridge had hit capacity. At any given moment, Nupur, they could have completely avoided this entire tragedy, because they could have completely avoided, and they could have stopped giving the tickets, they could have stopped issuing the new tickets for the people who were coming into the entire pathway which we just showed you, to
Absolutely.
go towards the bridge as well. So this is something that we are seeing here, at least on the ground. And as you see behind me, that the rescue operations are still being carried out. And this is the kind of cost of the kind of greed that we see of this particular company for getting more and more people here.
Now, Priyanka, what I wanted to ask you was there a supervisor who was in place, as it should have been, to monitor how many people were being allowed to go on that bridge? And not just that, we were going through some wire copies where, there were eyewitnesses who've spoken to the media, they say that there were people shaking the bridge. They did inform the authorities who were running the bridge about this shaking. One of the families, of course, just got saved literally by, the skin of their hair because they moved back. But there were others who did not do so and unfortunately lost their lives. So obviously, there were no checks and balances in place. Obviously, tickets were issued without, they exceeded the number that were supposed to be allowed. But was there nobody who was, overseeing this operation?
Well, it definitely seems so, and even if they were, it doesn't seem as though they were trying to control the crowd or they were trying to control the number of people or controlling the footfall on the bridge, because if we try to go towards the bridge, where in fact, which in fact is extremely flimsy, it also seems, because it cannot, even by the look of it, hold more as high a number as 500 people, but we do see that there were people, there were agents of the company that had been placed at that ticket counter that we just showed you before coming towards the pathway, and they had been sitting there, they had been issuing tickets. At any given moment, they could have found out that the bridge was at capacity. They could have seen, even by the naked eye, they could have seen that the bridge was at capacity and that it was overflowing, and the footfall had been increasing more than what the bridge could actually hold. And this is not a very, this is in fact not something that they needed a refresher course in, because before the bridge had been inaugurated, which was over 3 days ago, the officials of the company themselves had come out and said that the bridge is at a capacity of 150 people, and that too has to be a moving footfall, that cannot be a static footfall, because that would lead to the bridge